So it's actually a funny story. So I had a family friend, Kelly Ward, who is one of the best wrestlers out of the state of Maryland ever. He was a two-time national champ for Iowa State and went on to be an Olympian. And he knew Mark Cody well and knew my senior year that I wanted to wrestle Division I and I wanted to stay local. At the time, originally I wanted to go to University of Maryland. You know, I'm from Maryland. I'm a Maryland boy, and I wanted to wrestle at University of Maryland. Well, long story short, coach never called me, and I never got an opportunity to go on a recruiting trip there. And so I was kind of puzzled my senior year because that was where I thought I wanted to go. I had a high school teammate that was on the team there, and I get a call from Mark Cody, and he says, "Hey, I know this guy. You know Kelly Ward, and Kelly told me about you. He told me about your work ethic, and I want you here. I want you here at American University." And that meant a lot to me. I started talking to him about my high school accolades. He said, "Hey, I already know everything. I know everything about you. I want you here." And so immediately, Mark Cody had a big impact on me, even from that first phone call. And so I came to campus, and I've been on a few recruiting trips. Campbell, George Mason, a couple local schools, and I came to American, and I just knew that this was the program for me. This was the school for me. I immediately connected with the guys on the team. I immediately connected with Mark Cody and Pat Popolizio, who was the assistant coach at that time, and knew that this was the place that I wanted to compete for. And had it not been for that phone call that Kelly Ward put into Mark Cody to say, "Hey, this is a guy you need to recruit. He's a guy that you need to build your program," I may not have found myself at American University. So it was a very interesting story. What I remember about the teams that I was on was it was very special what was going on at American University at that time. Everybody wanted to be part of this team that was doing something different, that was groundbreaking, and that's what it was when I came to American University. I wrestled with 20 plus guys on a team that all wanted to be national champs, that all wanted to be part of this electric magnetic program that was American University Wrestling, and it was so exciting to be a part of. And I remember just feeling that electricity, that teamwork mentality. Everybody was on the same page. Everybody was trying to accomplish the same goal, and that just created these bonds between all of us that continue to be to today. I still stay in touch with all those guys, and they're like brothers to me because we all came to AU with the same purpose and with the same goal, and we were all able to live that goal out. Wrestling for Mark Cody was one of the greatest honors of my life. He is a phenomenal coach, and I truly believe that I would not have had the same career that I had I not wrestled under Mark Cody. The way he develops his student athletes and the way that he believes in each and every one of us, each individual that comes to compete for him, is something that is not every coach has that. And what he has was what I call the secret sauce that not many coaches can emulate, but he had the secret sauce that when he spoke to you, you truly believed in everything he was saying. And if you can get a student athlete to believe in themselves and believe that their coach believes in them, it's dangerous and it's a powerful thing. And that's what Coach Cody was able to do with me, was not only to believe in him as a coach, but to believe in myself that I had the ability to accomplish whatever I wanted to in sport. What drove me to be the best I could be was all the hard work that I had put into this sport and the passion that I had for wrestling. When I started wrestling, I immediately had a passion for this sport, and I immediately had lofty goals of being an NCAA champ and being an All-American and being on that podium at the end of the year. And going through those years and going through middle school and high school, things happen, losses happen, etc., and you start to lose that confidence. You may start to lose that focus. And what Mark Cody did for me was regain that confidence and that belief in myself, to push myself to, what suffering meant, to suffer and to suffer for victory. And so what motivated me was, I'm doing all this work and I'm training as hard as anybody in the country. I'm not stepping out there on the mat to not get my hand raised. If I'm doing all this work and I'm working as hard as anybody else, if I'm working harder than anybody else, then I deserve to get my hand raised. And doesn't matter who's stepping out there with me. It's just another guy who eats, sleeps, and breathes the same as I do. And I know that I put in the work. I know that I put in the time. I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident in my coaches. And I deserve to get my hand raised. And that was just the mentality that I had every time I stepped out on the mat, was to make that happen. When I first became an All-American, the feeling was electric. It was everything that you hope it would be. You train your whole life from being a peewee wrestler all the way through college, and you wake up and do these 5 a.m. workouts, and some days you're doing 5-hour days, and you're cutting weight, and there's so much toughness that goes into wrestling, and why, and some may wonder why we do this to ourselves, and it's for those moments. It's for that moment where you seize that opportunity. All the work that we put in off the mat is for those opportunities, for those few opportunities we have to accomplish our goals and accomplish our dreams. And so my sophomore year, I was wrestling in the blood round, and I wrestled a guy from Purdue, and we ended up going into overtime. And I remembered before the match thinking to myself, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to score my points, I'm going to wrestle my match, and I'm going to get my hand raised. And it's not going into overtime. We're going to get this done in regulation. And when you're sitting back there and you're trying to concentrate and you're trying to focus, all you can hear is the announcers in the background, and everybody's going into double overtime, and the importance of this round, and you got to block all that out. And I remembered thinking, as time expired in regulation, we're going in overtime, thinking to myself, how did this happen? I had a plan, I had a game plan, I was going to come in, I was going to win in regulation, and here I am in overtime. But then you think back to, like I said, all the work that you put in to get to that point, and there was no way I was stepping off that mat without getting my hand raised. I had come this far to get this opportunity to be an All-American. We're in overtime. I don't care if it takes another 5 minutes to get out of this match, but I'm going to get out of this match with my hand raised. And I remembered taking a guy down, scoring the points, and the match was over, and getting up, and it just all hits you, and you're like, I did it. I'm an All-American. You look, the crowd's all cheering because you're at a small school like American University, and you're beating a Big Ten guy, and they're all rooting for you except for the Big Ten guys. And it was just so electric. I remember looking up at my family, and my family's all up there, and they're cheering, and they're going crazy. And it's just all of the work and everything that led up to that point, the losses, the suffering, the pain you put yourself through to be in this sport. When you accomplish something like that, it's exciting and it's electric, and it was a lot of fun. Juggling academics and athletics was difficult, but in the sport of wrestling, you know that after college, your athletic career is pretty much over. Some go on to the Olympics, but for the most of us, we have to go out and we have to get a job. We also understand that not a lot of people know the sport of wrestling and know the dedication it takes and all that goes into it. And so in order to be somebody that's attractive to the business world, I knew I had to get good grades. And so it was difficult juggling both of those, both the academics as well as the athletics. But it's possible. And it just goes back to that same mentality of, I got to work hard no matter what I do. and nothing is given to us. Nothing's given to us in the sport of wrestling. Nothing's given to you in academics, and you have to work hard, and you have to work hard to get good grades. Being a student athlete and transitioning that to the business world is so vitally important. And I think any business professional understands, no matter what sport you played, if you can show that you could juggle athletics and academics, you show that you can juggle two things at once, and it's a huge plus and a huge bonus to anybody in the business world. And so I brought that to the table, but with specifically to the sport of wrestling, there's so many lessons that you learn in defeat and being able to overcome that defeat and work harder, and having that skill set has transitioned in the business world into, there's going to be plenty of deals that don't work out, that don't go through, and you got to pick yourself up, and you got to keep working hard, and you got to keep going after it. So my reaction to being in the Hall of Fame was just what an honor. The people that have come before me, Josh Glenn, Dr. Bob Karsh, I can go on about the amazing athletes at American University that have been part of the Hall of Fame. It's exciting because AU is such a part of my background, my history, my legacy, the memories I have of my college career. It's just exciting that I will now be part of that future and that history going forward, and kind of sketched into the book of American University athletics forever. So extremely exciting and just a huge honor.